Go ahead.
Brandon,
Hey,
look at
Coach.
the building. Hey,
Yeah, I made the trip.
wow.
Yeah. So kind of going into this game a little bit, huh?
First time I smile.
Oh. um, so going into this game a little bit, I mean, if I were to tell you that you guys had Jenna on the bench with no points, Michaela and Sarah Ashley had no points, you guys are probably at 22-22. You guys are probably happy going into half. Can you kind of pinpoint some things that were kind of, I guess unraveling is too harsh of a word, but kind of like set you guys off in the third there that kind of just made things keep. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right, no, you're right. I mean, going into halftime, we're tied. Jenna hasn't scored. She sat on the bench early with two fouls. I'm thinking that not that it's going to be easy, but that okay, like we maintained, right? You want to when that happens, when whether that's Jenna, Q, whatever that is. Same thing with Q at Arkansas. She picked up two quick fouls. You're thinking, all right, we maintained. We held serve, and that's what you want to do. So we just fouled too much. You give up 24 points in a quarter to start to go into the third. We're fouling too much. And then while we're fouling, we're not scoring on the offensive end. So you hold Texas A&M to 60 points when all five of their starters average double figures. I can't at this point say it's defense. What we have to do defensively is stop fouling. Okay, and what we have to do offensively is get back to being aggressive, initiate contact, and get to the free throw line. I look at the stat sheet. We have 61 possessions to their 52. We hold we break even with a great rebounding team and hold them to only 8 offensive rebounds. And Indy Jones for 2 and 12. I'll take that any night. 2 offensive rebounds, 10 defensive, 12 total. She's a monster on the boards. We've got to get back to being aggressive, initiating contact, and getting to the free throw line. For us to only get to the line in that type of game 6 times just speaks to our lack of aggression at times.
Yeah, and then I mean, on the offensive end over these last few games, other than the Arkansas, maybe I'm wrong here, but it just seems like you guys don't have the same consistent rhythm offensively that you guys had earlier on. Is that just a product of being in a spell? I mean, what steps do you take to get out of that and kind of get back to those principles that you guys had talked about back in early back early in.
Yeah, so we want to still do the same things. A few of it is, 2 of those games, Jen is on the bench, in foul trouble. We've got to stop fouling so we can stay on the floor and be in a constant rhythm and a constant flow. And then on top of that, LSU played a zone, Texas A&M played a zone. We've got to knock down some shots too. So I fully believe that we're capable. We got to be ready to shoot it when our shot comes and then knock it down.
And then I mean, in terms of your team's confidence, I mean, you guys got off to the 8-0 start. This is kind of the first time to where you guys have gone into a spell, but Thursday it doesn't lighten up. I mean, you go to Alabama and you're back at it. How do you guys as coaches kind of get your team back into that confidence that they've had, and how do you guys kind of speak that to them? Do you feel like that all of your players are still as confident as well?
Absolutely. I mean, the good thing is we have experienced players. They understand this is the grind of the league. Like this league is tough. Watching games today as I'm getting dressed, like Alabama's up on South Carolina at halftime. Kentucky and Missouri go down to the wire. Ole Miss and LSU go into overtime. Like this is what the SEC is, and so you can't place too much on one game and start, wanting to rip up everything you've done that got you to this point. That's this league. We knew coming to Texas A&M was going to be tough. We could have done everything right today and lost. They're the number 8 team in the country for a reason. So we've got to eliminate our mistakes that contribute to those losses, those careless mistakes that contribute to that, and turnovers as a part of that. But yeah, that's just this league, Brendan. Am I happy we lost? Absolutely not. But we can't, just tip over the apple cart either. And we've got to get back to being knocking down shots, getting to the free throw line, and stop fouling. That is the one difference from now and looking at games past is that we're just fouling way too much and giving people easy points at the free throw line.
Yeah, I was just interested in your perspective on that because I watch the league every night. I mean, I mean, I see what you're talking about. The last thing, um, I mean, I've asked you about this a few times, but is there any way for you guys to hone in on those turnovers anymore? I mean, it was almost as many turnovers I mean, is baskets, and obviously that recipe in this league is not. I mean,
Yep. Pass and catch. You know, tonight we have turnovers that are just not characteristic of us. We get a breakaway layup at Gabby overthrows Q that normally happen. You know, we could get a rim run, we overthrow. So you know, if those things happen in transition, then in the half court again, you can't get charges, you can't get some other things that just are gonna take away possessions, you know, from us. And then I thought there were a couple times where we whether we were rushed, and I'm not saying that they rushed us a whole lot, but we just passed it and we weren't aware of where the defense was, and they came and got it or got their hands on some balls, and so we just got to be a lot more, what's the word, we've got to know what we're looking for in the half court. We've got to know our options. You know, everybody does. There were a couple of times where we made a pass and the pass should have gone there, but the person we were passing to didn't know that that was the option. And some of that is we tweaked some things today for Texas A&M, so we were running a few things that we haven't shown in a while. But we've got to execute, basically is what it comes down to.
thanks, coach. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, be safe.
Thanks, Coach
Yeah, I
Taylor.
will.
Thank you, Brandon.